Have you ever opened up a cloud bill and felt like you needed a decoder ring just to figure it out? Well, you're definitely not alone. Today, we're going to dig into a brand new open standard that's aiming to bring some serious order to all that chaos.
It seems like a simple question, right? But man, it gets right to the heart of a massive headache for anyone in the world of FinOps. You know, the whole practice of trying to bring some financial sanity to cloud spending. You're using services from all these different providers, and it's like each one is speaking a completely different language when it's time to pay up. So what is going on here?
At its core, the problem is something we can just call cloud billing chaos. For FinOps practitioners, this isn't just a concept, it's their daily reality. We're talking hours, sometimes even days, wasted just trying to get a straight answer on what the company is spending and where it's all going.
And here's the root of it all. Just imagine getting your bills at home, electricity, water, internet, but each one calls the total amount due something completely different. One says billed cost, another calls it invoice total, and a third one has charge amount. That's literally what's happening in the cloud. It makes trying to compare apples to apples pretty much impossible.
And this really shows you the human cost of it all. Without a standard, you've got teams just burning hours on manual data normalization, messing with spreadsheets, writing custom scripts, just to get to square one. It's tedious, and it means you're not even getting to the real analysis. But with a common standard like Focus, that manual prep work can be automated. The terms are consistent, and your teams can finally spend their time on what actually matters, finding insights and creating value.
So if the problem is that everybody's speaking a different language, the solution is kind of obvious, right? We need to create a universal one. And that brings us to the hero of our story today, the Focus Specification.
Focus. It stands for FinOps Open Cost and Usage Specification. I know, it's a mouthful, but think of it this way. It's an open source rulebook. It's a shared dictionary that defines what all those billing terms actually mean. So now, billed cost means the exact same thing whether you're looking at data from your cloud provider, your SaaS tools, or any other vendor that gets on board. And that's the big dream here, to create one single universal language for all technology spending. It sounds simple, but the impact is absolutely transformative. When everyone's speaking the same language, suddenly everything gets a whole lot easier.
Okay, this all sounds great in theory, but what's in it for you? What does it actually mean for businesses and for the people doing the work? Let's break down the real, tangible value you get when you bring this kind of clarity to the table.
Right off the bat, the benefits are huge. Your reports? They're suddenly way more accurate and consistent. The skills your team learns are now transferable. They're not just stuck in one vendor's weird, quirky billing system. Bringing on a new cloud provider or a new SaaS tool gets so much simpler because the data mapping is basically done for you. And maybe the best part, you can finally get a true holistic view of all your tech spend all in one place.
Now look, a new standard is only as good as the people who actually use it. So is this just a nice idea on paper, or is the industry really getting behind it? Well, all the evidence is pointing to this being a really big shift.
And when I say the industry is uniting, I mean the heavyweights. This isn't some small niche project. We're talking about the major players in cloud, the ones who are actually writing those confusing bills, and they're all throwing their support behind it. Let's start with Google Cloud. They get it. They know that when customers are confused, it's a barrier to growth. They're saying point blank that they want their customers to spend less time trying to decipher bills and more time building cool stuff. For them, focus is the path to get there.
And it's not just Google. Microsoft is singing the same tune, and they're really highlighting the collaboration here. They see this not as some kind of competitive thing, but as a tide that can lift all boats, bringing everyone to the table for the benefit of the whole industry.
But it's not just the big providers pushing this. What about the customers, the people actually using this stuff? Check out this quote from GitLab. They're already using it and seeing real value, creating that single source of truth that lets them make faster, smarter decisions. That's the real-world impact right there.
And finally, you've got the industry analysts chiming in. Tracy Wu calls it a big deal, and she's emphasizing how this strips away complexity for everybody across all industries. When you get that kind of third-party validation, you know something important is happening.
Okay, so let's say you're sold. The problem is real, the solution is smart, and the industry is getting on board. What can you actually do right now to bring this into your own world?
The good news is there's a really clear path forward. You can start small, just learn the basics with an introductory course to get your head around the fundamentals. If you really want to dive deep, you can get certified and become a Focus analyst. And hey, if you're really passionate about this, it's an open source community. You can join in on GitHub and actually help shape the future of the standard yourself.
And that really brings us full circle, back to that initial frustration. When you think about all those hours spent wrestling with spreadsheets and the headache of trying to explain inconsistent reports, isn't it time to stop fighting the chaos and start getting some clarity? Is it time to bring focus to your cloud costs?